Итак, всем здравствуйте, меня зовут Кэндис, и сегодня мы начинаем стрим, так как я вижу, уже люди подходят. Дарк, да, я здесь. Я где? Я здесь. Я просто начала стрим и немножко отвлеклась. Привет, Влад. Как дела? Дела хорошо. Так, мы сегодня проходим Dragon Age Inquisition, как вы помните. Так. Давайте выключу картинку и наконец-то запущу игру. Что там? Она есть. Вот так. Привет, Слава. Нет, Хироусов сейчас не будет. Мы будем стримить... Я буду стримить Heroes только с Дарком, а дневные стримы будут проходить такие игры другие. Меня, конечно, немного напрягает то, что игра не на полный экран, но я, к сожалению, ничего здесь не могу сделать. Такова вот судьба. Что за шум на фоне? Господи, что я открыл? Так лучше стало? Короче, продолжаем. Остается на том, что нужно найти последний осколок красного лириума.
Interested in saving his followers.
Ну и, видимо, мы нашли последний кристалл. Да, точнее не кристалл, а осколок.
Let's head back to the main hall. I think I know how we'll open that door.
Скай Эраклеонский. Здравствуйте. Если что, я не Дарк. Меня зовут Кенти, здравствуйте. Я соадмин, скажем так. Дарк у нас главадмин, а я соадмин. Хотя на самом деле мы все знаем, что кто на самом деле главадмин. Ага. Слава что-то молчит. А Слава он... Я бы сказала, кто он. Пошел скачивать Хирос, нас предал. Ну ничего, нам и без Славы будет весело. Ну, здравствуй, Алексиус. Так, можно сказать, час расплаты настал. Как вы могли? Наконец-то я вас нашла. Покончим с этим. Вы здесь один? Так. Давайте жестко.
Alexius, it's time to answer for your crimes.
And here you are, finally. I knew you would appear again. Not that it would be now, but I knew I hadn't destroyed you. My final failure.
Was it worth it? Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
It doesn't matter now. All we can do is wait for the end.
Everything you did to the world, to yourself.
Конца?
What do you mean? What's ending?
The irony that you should appear now of all the possibilities. All that I fought for, all that I betrayed, and what have I wrought? Ruin and death, there is nothing else. The Elder One comes for me, for you, for us all. Felix.
That's Felix. Maker's breath, Alexius, what have you done?
He would have died, Dorian. I saved him. Please, don't hurt my son. I'll do anything you ask.
Да, пожалуйста, не возьми моего сына. Дай нам амулет, отпусти его, Лилиана. Избавьте его от мучений. Сложно. Дайте нам амулет.
Hand over the amulet and we let him go.
Let him go and I swear you'll get what you want.
I want the world back.
No.
Извините за эти звуки, просто... Ах ты, сука! Я отомстил за то, что ты сделал с нашим миром. Что он творит? Тихо, 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 он бьет. Он создал брешь. Надо быстро ее закрыть. Закрывай ее. Так демоны помешали. Грёбаный. Дориан, ты можешь что-нибудь сделать? Взрыв разума. Давай. Да блин, эти демоны, они не дают мне закрыть брешь. Точнее, рассеять силу. Давай, 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 давай. Так. Что, все? Можно закрыть? Так. Давайте молнию. Взрывом.
Victory is impossible. The Elder One will destroy us both.
Где он там? Ага. Где он? Опять он призвал разрыв. Ну ладно. Попробуем сейчас закрыть, пока демоны на нас не напали. Так. Закрываем разрыв. Но остальные, видать, стесняются себя указывать. Ага, конечно. На самом деле он просто хочет, чтобы вся слава досталась ему. Давай, давай, давай. Плохо. Что, мы победили?
He wanted to die, didn't he? All those lies he told himself, the justifications. He lost Felix long ago. Didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius.
Тяжело тебе, наверное.
I know you cared for him.
Once he was a man to whom I compared all others. Sad, isn't it? This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift.
An hour? That's impossible. You must go now.
Что происходит?
The Elder One.
О-о.
Was wondering when he'd show. We'll head out front. Keep them off your tail.
Так они же тогда умрут. Неужели нет другого выхода? Постараемся не подвести. Я не дам вам умереть. Боюсь, не могу так поступить. Сложно. Неужели нет другого выхода?
I can't let you kill yourself for me. There must be another way.
Look at us. We're already dead. The only way we live is if this day never comes. Cast your spell. You have as much time as I have hours.
Друзья.
Though darkness closes, I am shielded by flame. Andraste, guide me. Maker, take me to your side.
You move, and we all die!
Боже, у меня аж мурашки. Нет!
You'll have to do better than that.
Вы проиграли.
You failed, Alexius. How forgiving is your Elder One?
You won. There is no point extending this charade. Felix.
It's going to be all right, Father.
You'll die.
Everyone dies.
Well, I'm glad that's over with.
Опа. Видимо, какая-то важная особа сейчас придет.
Or not.
Grand Enchanter, we'd like to discuss your abuse of our hospitality.
Your Majesties.
Это же
When we offered the
Алистер.
Mage's Sanctuary, we did not give them the right to drive our people from their homes.
И Анора?
Queen Anora, I assure you, we never intended...
In light of your actions, good intentions are no longer enough.
You and your followers have worn out your welcome. Leave Ferelden, or we'll be forced to make you leave.
But we have hundreds who need protection. Where will we go?
Пойдете с нами?
You'll be leaving here with the Inquisition.
And what are the terms of this arrangement?
Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that.
Конечно.
I know you are a mage, but consider how these rebels have acted. They must be conscripted, not coddled.
It seems we have little choice but to accept whatever you offer.
Обязать мятежных магов служить к Инквизиции? Давайте будут они лучше союзниками.
We would be honored to have you fight as allies at the Inquisition's side.
We'll discuss this later.
I'll pray that the rest of the Inquisition honors your promise then.
The breach threatens all of Tedesa. We cannot afford to be divided now. We can't fight it without you. Any chance of success requires your full support.
It's a generous offer. I doubt you're going to get a better one from us.
Короче, большинство не одобрили наш поступок, но...
We accept. It would be madness not to.
Извините уж.
I will gather my people and ready them for the journey to Haven. The breach will be closed. You will not regret giving us this chance.
Мне на самом деле пофиг, потому что маги, они все-таки могучая сила, и лучше с ними дружить, а не дружить. Что за трэш в этой игре происходит? На самом деле, то, что сейчас произошло, они зашли в портал. Это они попали в прошлое, потому что, на самом деле, они попали до этого в будущее, точнее, в альтернативное будущее, в котором все очень плохо. Поэтому нам нужно было вернуться в прошлое и изменить ход событий. Ну, на самом деле, тут можно очень легко потерять грани, если не смотреть полностью прохождение. Давайте пока почитаем, что тут написано. Яблоко живое и мертвое. Считается, что яблоки, растущие у виселицы, любовнику, задумавшему измену на вкус, покажутся горькими. Еще считается, правда, уже совсем другими людьми, что незрелый фрукт не должен быть единственным мерилом верности. Этих людей по вечерам зачастую можно увидеть в одиночестве в беседках летнего рынка. Сестра бывшая, Лодин, или Лодин, сердце Орлея. Улица ее размышлений. Улица — это весьма вдохновенное место. Но мудрый путник не станет медлить здесь, отдавая ей дань уважения. Не только потому, что закончилась загрузка. Вот это сюжет. Да, уж я сама, кстати, не ожидала. Думала, здесь скучно, а тут, оказывается, очень весело. По сути, весь сюжет мира в том, что на самом деле настал апокалипсис, и только мы можем остановить этот апокалипсис, потому что у нас открылась метка, с помощью которой можно закрывать разрывы в завесе. А завеса — это, по сути, грань между нашим миром и миром тени.
It's not a matter for debate. There will be abominations among the mages, and we must be prepared.
If we rescind the offer of an alliance, it makes the Inquisition appear incompetent at best, tyrannical at worst.
What were you thinking, turning mages loose with no oversight? The veil is torn open.
Ой, начинается. Все, я во всем виновата. Так, погодите секунду, я отлучусь на пару минут. Так. Let us continue. Нам нужна готовность помогать.
We need them to close the breach. It's not going to work if we make enemies of them.
I know we need them for the breach, but they could do as much damage as the demons themselves. You were there, Seeker. Why didn't you intervene?
While I may not completely agree with the decision, I support it. The sole point of the Herald's mission was to gain the mage's aid, and that was accomplished.
The voice of pragmatism speaks. Here I was, just starting to enjoy the circular arguments.
Closing the breach is all that matters.
Нам понадобится лириум. Я помогу. Чем скорее, тем лучше. Да, неужели, господи, вы ждали этого момента целую жизнь, и вот он настал. Я вернулась, да. Чем скорее, тем лучше.
The longer the breach is open, the more damage it does. We should head there as soon as possible.
Agreed.
We should look into the things you saw in this dark future. The assassination of Empress Celine. A demon army.
Sounds like something a Tevinter cult might do. Orlais falls, the Imperium rises. Chaos for everyone.
One battle at a time. It's going to take time to organize our troops and the mage recruits. Let's take this to the war room. Join us. None of this means anything without your mark, after all.
Конечно. Да, привет, Топ Геймс. Да, я читаю комментарии. И да, у меня тоже, типа, вот это поворот. Так. Не судьба мне вздремнуть. Я готова.
Thank you. I'd be honored to help with the plan.
Meet us there when you're ready.
I'll skip the War Council, but I would like to see this breach up close, if you don't mind.
Then you're staying?
Oh, didn't I mention? The South is so charming and rustic. I adore it to little pieces.
Ты хочешь остаться? Я не хочу, чтобы ты оставался. Я рада, что ты остаешься. Мы будем приглядывать за тобой. Ты хочешь остаться? Ну, в принципе, я рада, что ты остаешься.
There's no one I'd rather be stranded in time with, future or present.
Excellent choice. But let's not get stranded again anytime soon, yeah?
I'll begin preparations to march on the summit. Make her willing, the mages will be enough to grant us victory.
Да. В этой игре тоже персонаж избранный, обязан всем помогать? Да. Да. В этой игре персонаж тоже избранный и обязан всем помогать. Так, Вивьен стоит у нас здесь. Давайте с кем-то поговорим. Так, Жозефина.
The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady Corbin.
And my miners appreciate your business. You'll have your lyrium by the end of the week. I should tell you, Ambassador, the Chantry raised some fuss when they learned about our arrangement.
The Inquisition must certainly seem an audacious idea to the Grand Clerics. We hope to convince them it is a necessary one as well.
Давайте поговорим с Жозефиной.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who is she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corbin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
О, бедненькая церковь. Ее разгневало.
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than I anticipated. We are becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power instead of comforting
Так, это
the
ж
masses.
церковь. В церкви только гордые и тщеславные жрицы, которые только и стремятся, чтобы быть самыми могущественными. Наш персонаж, вообще, я тебе скажу так, необычной расы, это раса Кунари. Видишь, у нее тут рога есть. Вот. Церковь слаба. А утешение сейчас так важно. Так продолжается много лет, в принципе, это правда.
Mage circles started falling years ago. The Chantry was troubled even before the Divine's murder.
Yet many people continue to bear it great love. We will not benefit from its decline. Little but the chantry ties Orlais, Nevara, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andrasti's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
И да, если вы обратили внимание, у этой Жозефины необычный такой акцент, такой вот немножко испанский, потому что тут у разных народов разные языки. Допустим, у некоторых картавый такой французский акцент, это из Орлея. У тех, кто из Антивы, у них испанский акцент. У гномов американский акцент, а у обычного народа, скажем так, британский акцент. Так. Я понимаю ее важность, по твоим словам, все так просто. Возможно, начало разногласий. Ну, я понимаю ее важность.
I suppose a shared faith can be useful when talking with strangers.
Precisely. And these similar interests are merely where we begin. We must learn to think beyond our own wants, to secure peace in Tedesa.
Я чуть чаем не подавилась. Неужели ты вправду так хороша? Нет, пожалуй, не будет у нас тут лесбийских пар. Нам нужно научиться видеть дальше собственных интересов. Это нелегкая задача.
The Inquisition will have plenty of time for that between finding the Divine's murderer and sealing the breach.
Busy as we are, I do have a question for you, if you've a moment. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
Как ответишь ты?
Will my answer change your reply to the chantry?
If Leliana, Cassandra, Cullen, and I could agree on our official stance, I could answer that. We should decide soon. The revered mothers don't seem to know what to make of you.
О боже. Я не знаю.
I don't know if a miracle from Andraste saved me any more than they do.
Yet as rumors your Andraste's herald grow, the Grand Clerics may not believe such a humble reply. A difficult situation, and I thank you for your answer. A good day to you.
Можно, конечно, соврать владычицам, что это была именно Андрасту, но это же вранье.
What may I do for you?
Есть какие-нибудь новости?
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility. They will be gently reminded of this.
Как там наши гости?
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Lady Drummond promised a visit. She has useful resources if we can get her to set aside her games.
What are her politics?
Oh, no, I meant actual games. Chess, cards, dice, little boards with carved items from the winter. She made me play that with her for 8 hours once. Steer her towards cards, if she insists on a match.
Ну, хорошо. Так.
Good day to you.
Так, еще какие-то новости?
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility.
Что насчет наших союзников?
Any thoughts on the people here?
Who did you mean?
Что насчет наших магов? Солос.
What's your impression of Solus?
I suppose I should be wary of an apostate, but our elven mage has conducted himself with the utmost propriety. And he has the most fascinating stories.
Vivian.
What do you think of Vivienne?
We've met a few times before at court. She remains a truly accomplished player of the game. So long as her interests align with yours, Madame Vivienne will be a most valuable ally.
Dorian.
You must have an opinion of Dorian.
Who hasn't? The man could cause a scene standing quietly in the center of an empty room. Still, I do believe he has your best interest at heart, for all that he delights in mocking them from time to time.
Ты шо, ща набегут в гомофобии, обвинят? Нет, на самом деле, Я не сделала такой выбор, потому что все-таки я хочу свести свою... Господи, как я ее назвала? Андериэль? Не помню уже. С другим персонажем. Во сколько примерно будет стрим по херуйозам? По херуйозам? Ну да, как Дарк сказал. Что насчет наших друзей-разбойников? Сэра. Если что, это сейчас мы спрашиваем про наших спутников.
Sarah's ability to vanish whenever her mischief's discovered must come in handy, however, I'm sure.
Давайте поговорим про Варика.
I was thinking of Varric.
Oh, I could listen to his tales for hours. He actually let me read a chapter of his next book he's writing. My friends would be sick with envy if they knew. It's excellent, but a bit different from his past works. Only 3 beheadings so far.
Ну давайте про воинов тоже поговорим. Железный бык.
The Iron Bull has had to have made an impression.
He is a loud, unapologetic accident merely waiting to happen. I do wish he'd stop daring poor dignitaries to outdrink him.
Cassandra.
I was thinking of Cassandra.
Seeker Pentagast is a princess of the Kingdom of Nevada, although that barely seems
Серьезно?
important to her. She was not interested when I asked if we might make use of her royal relations. Still, the Inquisition would not have formed without Cassandra. She's an extraordinarily driven woman.
Blackwall.
What do you think of Sir Blackwall?
Sir Blackwall seems as loyal to the purpose of the Inquisition as he is to the Wardens. His travels must have taken him strange places. I wish he'd speak more about them.
Так, ну и Кален.
Commander Cullen came to mind.
The commander is an intelligent, cautious man. I'm grateful he's in charge of our sending.
Хотя в первой части он сошел с ума.
Still, he does sometimes resemble the man with a hammer to whom everything appears as a nail.
Да.
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
Farewell. Минева. Так, давайте пойдем поговорим с... Ой, давайте поговорим с матерью Жизель.
I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray this Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
Так. Мы будем стараться.
We will try.
In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry, or its own namesake.
Церковь или собственные интересы. Как справляется народ с ситуацией?
Can you tell me how our people are doing?
What would you like to know?
Кстати говоря, в чате. У вас есть PlayStation 4 или чего-нибудь наподобие этого? Нет. Стрим. Нет, раньше я не могу, потому что я сегодня буду занята. Могу только в то время, когда Дарк придет. Как живется в убежище?
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
You did well to gain the mages to your cause. The people have hope that the breach may be sealed. Some of them are returning to the lives they fled. Others are starting fresh. In either case, they no longer believe the world as they know it is empty.
Как живет народ в других местах?
Do you have information on people elsewhere?
The refugees in the hinterlands are desperate. Without help, starvation or war will claim many lives. Villagers in Crestwood are besieged by their own dead. They have sent word begging for assistance. People are vanishing in the hills of Emprise de Lyon. It may be demons or something worse, but they are terrified. More than that I cannot say. It is a chaotic time for all in Olay and Ferelden.
До свидания.
Farewell.
Farewell.
Farewell. Давайте пойдем поговорим с нашей уважаемой лысенькой магессой. Вивиан.
If Fiona and her malcontents are joining us as allies, we need to be prepared. Abominations are inevitable. Cullen doesn't have enough Templars to handle incidents. Some of the rank and file need to be trained.
Маги у нас под контролем.
We can handle the mages. There's no need for Templars.
Have any of these men faced an abomination before, my dear? Have you? The veil is broken, and the raw power of the Fade rushes out like floodwaters through a shattered levee. You know as well as I do that mages attract demons where the veil is thin. And if demons can walk our world with no blood magic to summon them, how safe do you think our allies are? There has never been a greater threat to mages than the breach. Until it is closed, no one is safe.
Я не настолько в них уверена.
I'm glad that one of us has confidence in the Templars.
It is not a matter of confidence. Reality does not change based on feelings. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned.
Узнаю церковную риторику. У вас готов нет храмовников. Храмовники — это не решение, согласна с вами, в Тевентере так не считают. Ну, у вас готов... У них нету храмовников. Но у вас готов вроде есть. Они очень жестко к магам относятся. Я согласна с вами.
You're preaching to the choir, Vivian.
Tell me something. You said once that you wanted to change things. What future would you build for mages?
Маги нужны в церкви, маги должны быть свободны. Мне кажется, самое разумное нужно вернуть круг.
The circle has to be restored if we want to keep the peace.
That's comforting to hear, but you'll find opposition to the idea even among friends. It's something to consider, my dear.
Да.
Yes?
Так, а может мы могли бы? Нет, мы не могли бы. До свидания, не обращайте внимания. С Вивиан мы тоже мутить не будем. Мы будем мутить, сразу говорю, с железным быком. По крайней мере, я планирую. Ой, что так подвисло? Маги. Прекрасно. Ой, все, короче, недовольны. Лиана.
It seems Blackwall knows nothing about the disappearance of the Grey Wardens. It's a disappointment. I am, however, glad that he is with us, even if he was not what I expected. He seems to be a good man, and his experience will be an asset to the Inquisition. As for the other Wardens, I suppose we will have to keep looking.
Вы решились погибнуть ради меня. Кстати, это правда.
In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
Это все равно было благородно.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
Что-нибудь новое?
Anything I should know?
Altegan has returned to Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as Lord. The people are returning, slowly but surely. Unfortunately, our show of support for the mages has angered many.
Да никто недоволен. Вы левая рука Джустинии.
They called you the left hand of the divine.
That they did? What of it?
Что значит левая рука?
What exactly does the left hand of the divine do?
A divine always has enemies, and Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
Oh. И откуда же столько врагов?
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life. And like many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy.
and because they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
Ну да, действительно. Пошла добровольно в церковь. Ах ты, еретичка проклятая. Пошла в церковь по доброй воле, а не потому, что тебя родители спихнули, потому что они хотели избавиться от тебя. Так. Ну, по сути, то же, что и сейчас.
So you were her spy master too?
I handled difficult situations that couldn't be resolved through delicate means.
Я поняла тебя, Лилианочка. Зачем создавать Инквизицию?
What is the point of an Inquisition?
Justinia would have started the Inquisition if the Divine Conclave failed to restore peace. She hoped that with enough support, we could challenge the very tenets of the Chantry. She wanted the Chantry to treat the mages fairly. But sometimes I wonder, why stop at mages? The Chantry has committed many injustices. If we're going to change it, why not change the whole thing? It's just a thought. None of this will be possible if we fail.
Мне жаль, что умерла. Я сделаю все, что смогу. Я сделаю все, что смогу.
I'll try not to break anything.
That's good to hear.
Может, будете в моем отряде? О, это было бы великолепно.
I could use the left hand of the divine at my side out there.
Every agent out in the world is my eyes, my ears, my blade. Wherever my people are, I am also. Coming with you, leaving my post, would blind and bound me. Do you see?
Ладно, продолжим беседу позже.
We'll talk more later.
Лилианочку, кстати говоря, мы можем видеть во всех 3 частях Dragon Age. И в первой части она была у нас спутником. И знаете, когда только первый раз видишь эту скромную девушку, даже не подумаешь, что на самом деле она такая, какая есть. Давайте поговорим с Сэрой, потому что Сэра это просто можно усаться от смеха, когда с ней разговариваешь.
Well, that's mages all over. So many robes, I bet all of Ferelden lost their curtains. I'll just be the other side of Haven, just in case.
О, в таверне песня красиво играет. Не любишь магов?
Do you have a problem with our new allies, with mages?
No problem with mages. You're fine, right? My problem is magic. If mages sat on their hands, everything would be fine. I mean, yay, freedom. Great for them. Over there, away from me.
Только дальше от меня. Ты не годишься для Инквизиции, ни хрена себе. Не надо таких вот резких движений. Что думаешь о союзниках?
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Again with your people. Right, which ones?
Про Дориана.
What about Dorian?
He's fun. Could lose a bit more to Vinter.
Про Вивиан.
What's your opinion of Vivienne?
She's a bitch, but she knows. She better.
Про Железного быка. На что упоротая немного.
Thoughts on Iron Bull?
It makes me wonder about things. I'm looking on you, but that Kuhn stuff, I don't know.
Но вся эта куновская хрень, даже не знаю. Про Блэквелла.
Any thoughts about Warden Blackwall?
He's too good, right? I'd like to see him out of that uniform.
Что у него под панцирем?
Not like that.
А, понятно. Трава, инфа, она под травой. Про Солоса.
What about Solus?
Solus? His head's crammed up 1,000 years ago.
Ну, советник. В принципе, я остальное не спрашивала. Пока достаточно.
We'll talk later.
Good, right? I'll be here.
Давайте послушаем музыку.
Got the door again, Flisser. Don't know how it keeps breaking.
Craving master spine with hurry miss for those who could not find the truth. Blinded, so we're hiding, dying to leave. We're hiding, we're fighting.
Well, maybe just for a bit.
To see, we're waiting for someone to speak and set us all free. Nightingale's arms can free the tides on our hands. craving master spies. Can they find the key that can unlock the past? We're hiding from the fighting, longing to see. We're waiting for someone to speak and set us all free.
Вау, красиво очень. Ладно, послушали и хватит. Надо дальше продолжаться. Ой, продолжать проходить. Так, куда-то надо идти нам. Нам нужно, давайте поговорим с нашими спутниками. Дориан, ты у нас где-то здесь. Ну, привет.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
А ты против?
I take it you don't agree.
On the contrary, I approve. Heartily. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean.
Мне кажется, все
The
будет
Inquisition
замечательно.
is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to...
Надо же когда-то магам почувствовать свободу. И если они как-то добросить, так все так ужасно. Что, они начнут нами править?
So what? They all turn into blood mages, worship dragons, and then take over?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead.
No.
Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
Ты видел Алексиуса?
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
Так. Дарк пишет. Песня красивая. Кэндис. Залезь в файл игры, отдай мне. На самом деле, можно ее даже найти в интернете легко. Но на самом деле, это не единственная песня таверны. Там еще есть песня I am the one. Очень красивая, типа I am the one who will rebuild what is lost. I am the one. А дальше не помню, что там было. Может быть, когда-нибудь послушаем эту песню на стриме. Давайте еще поговорим с Дорианом.
Why would you assume that?
If you weren't, you would have split my skull open at our first meeting before I said a word. Centuries of warfare with the Kunari do lead to this state of affairs.
Ты раньше встречал Кунари?
You've encountered Kunari before.
Kunari raids are rather old hat for anyone from the Eastern Imperium. Although the attacks aren't quite the rampaging wars of ages past. Now we're like two angry dowagers who only remember to spit at each other when they pass on the street.
А как насчет личных контактов? А ну?
Did you meet any Kunari personally?
None who weren't rushing towards me with a sword. I was too busy running in the other direction to say hello. I've met some Talvashoth in my time, however. Mercenaries and a few merchants. They're not the same as Kunari. Might easily be a different people altogether.
Вы поладили?
No one in Tevinter has issues with Talvashoth.
I didn't say that. Prejudices are deeply rooted back home. But I have more sympathy than most. A personal failing, some would say.
А у меня была мысль убить тебя. Если претензий нет, то взаимно.
If you've no problem with me, I've no problem with you.
A philosophy I've learned to live by.
No issue with my being Inquisitor, then?
None that specifically involve you being so very, very large. No.
Good.
Кэнди у нас еще певица. Да, великая вообще певица. Погодите секунду. Так, расскажи мне о себе.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that,
да, не считаю
yes.
этого.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which
Какой
is obvious
нарцисс.
to anyone.
Для меня очевидно. Нет. Да, я не заметила. Ну, допустим.
You certainly think highly of yourself.
It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Твоя семья на тебя злится?
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
Тебе не нравится Тевинтер?
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Canary can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
А почему тебя так волнует?
It just seems... So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Tedesa truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Племенного разведения.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Туда почему не вернуться?
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree. But that's why we kill them.
Ладно, хватит на этот раз.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Я, наверное, один, кто играл в Undertale. Здрасте, приехали. Вообще-то у меня самое первое прохождение на канале было как раз по Undertale. Расскажи мне об Империи.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. Alright, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Да. Ого. Думаю, магия крови распространена?
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at
Совсем?
all.
That's what any magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
А как вы ее называете?
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
И храмовники не вмешиваются.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
И никто не возражает.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Как насчет рабства?
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
Ха-ха. Ты говоришь, что им это нравится?
You think slaves like it that way? Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Плохо обходится.
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
Маги действительно правят?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
Magisterium.
What is the magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of magi, the chantry, and the major families. All majors now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
А кто же ты тогда?
If you're not a magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an altus, which is almost as good as a magister, depending on who you ask.
А Альтус это?
I've never heard of an altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're soparati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
А как же Архонт?
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
Но власть уже у магов.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Это правда так?
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically. The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Это плохо?
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Так, еще что можно спросить?
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
В Империи есть церковь?
There's an Imperial chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Они правда так отличаются?
Is the Imperial chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
У вас есть круги?
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Черный жрец.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Разногласий.
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
Ваш жрец мужчина?
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Так, вот собираюсь стать ютубером. Что посоветуешь? Следить за тем, что нужно аудитории. Я советую, во-первых, определиться с направленностью. То есть, что ты будешь выкладывать на канал. Во-вторых, затариться оборудованием. То есть, это микрофон, естественно. Разобраться в монтаже и так далее. Ты верующий?
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Согласна с тобой.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
Oh.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
Не знаю.
I'm not sure about that myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
Темтер может быть союзником?
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
В тайне многие магистры будут в строгие тылы, а если юг, то не будет. Это разумно с их стороны.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, you've had it easy for far too long. Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
Это же не так.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
На этом все.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Хватит.
I should go.
As you wish.
Так, kill him, kill them all. Ой, если я сейчас еще начну кодекс читать, а там столько записей, это будет на 2 часа. Так, Солос, мы с тобой потом поговорим, я хочу поговорить с быком. Фрис. Так, песен никаких нету. О, песенка.
Her tongue tells tales of rebellion, but she was so fast and quick with her bow. No one quite knew where she came from. Sarah was never quite the quietest girl. Her attacks are loud and they're joyful, but she knew the ways of nobler men, and she knew how to enrage them. She would always like to say,
песня про нашу спутницу Сэру.
when you can own this day. Today she will fight to keep her away. She's a rogue and a thief and she'll tempt your fate. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day. Today she will fight to keep her away. A rogue and a thief and she'll tempt your fate. Sarah was never quite the wealthiest girl. Some say she lives in a tavern, but she was so sharp and quick with a bow. Arrows strike like a dragon. Sarah was never quite the gentlest girl. Her eyes were sharp like a razor, but she knew the ways of commoner men, and she knew just how to use them. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day. Today she will fight to keep her away. She's a rogue and a thief and she'll tempt your fate. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day. Today she will fight to keep her away. She's a rogue and a thief and she'll tempt your fate.
Tempt your fate. Tempt your fate. Ла-ла-ла. Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Не, с быком это с которым мы будем мутить. Ой. Чё я так все прям зависло в один момент? Крутая песня. Так, бык. Войну. Посмотрите на него, какой мужчина.
So, that Tevinter guy sent you into the future?
Я буду защищать тебя.
If you're worried about magic, I can protect you.
My blade pretty much protects me.
Perhaps I can do things your blade can't.
I don't know. It has blood grooves. Well, technically, it's the fuller, but blood grooves sound so much more violent. Anyway, I hope our new friends have what it takes to close the breach. Damn thing gives me a headache just looking at it.
Так. Быстрый разговор, конечно, с быком.
What can I do for you?
Все, пока.
See you later, Bull.
See ya.
Так. Ой, чувствую, если мы сейчас поговорим с Калином, то он нам просто даст взбучку. И скажет нам, ах ты подлянка. Я тебе тоже не нравлюсь.
You weren't happy with how I brought in the mages. Do you have a problem with me as well?
Of course not. I have no intention of endangering your alliance, but I must ensure the safety of those here. That concern extends to the mages. They are putting themselves at risk for the Inquisition, as are you. Any precautions taken are meant to aid you, nothing more. I hope you will accept them as such.
У тебя кто-нибудь есть? Нет. Расскажи, как ты был храмовником.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
What would you like to know?
О, все, Дарк, начинается разговор. Готовься. Как обучают храмовников?
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Tedesa. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Тебе это нравилось?
Did you enjoy your training?
To learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the chant of transfigurations wasn't the most exciting task. I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
Как ты стал храмовником?
Why did you join the order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars as our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The knight captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
Довольно юный возраст.
13. That's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The order sees you trained and educated first.
А как же твоя семья?
What about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course, but there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
Чем занимаются храмовники?
Do the Templars do anything besides hunt mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the order left the chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
Что ты думаешь о магах?
You've made it clear that you consider mages a threat.
Any mage can be. I won't pretend otherwise. I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so here. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession, at least.
Ты жил в круге.
You've lived in the circle. What was a typical day for a Templar there?
Typical? The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's harrowing, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
Вы не говорили с магами?
Do Templars and mages never speak to each other?
Some do, but Templars are supposed to maintain a certain distance from their charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
Расскажи мне о присяге.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing.
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter, your first draft of lyrium and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
Это все.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Another time, then.
Так, пошли еще с кем-то поговорим. Так, вот посмотрим, с кем еще можно поговорить. Можно поговорить с Кассандрой, с Вариком, с Солосом. Ой, в принципе, все. Сейчас, наверное, еще с кем-то поговорим. Потом кодекс почитаем. В общем, весело проведем время. А что здесь? Я могу, кстати говоря, показать свои скиллы. Кэндис. Дай акшона. А со спутниками кто будет разговаривать? Пушкин? Так давайте, во-первых, оружие усовершенствуем. Нельзя никакое оружие усовершенствовать случайно. Спутники на орбите после летают. Так. А, да, кстати говоря, мой персонаж зовут Андреэль. Так, ладно, кстати говоря, у нас сильный вообще посох. 49. Стоп. 49. Почему так мало? Давайте посох застоя тогда. Он, кстати говоря, ледяной. А ну, давайте его испытуем. Ага, нормально. Ладно, сейчас поговорю с Кассандрой только. С Вариком. И с этим, и все. И точно будет экшон.
And what are we supposed to do, exactly?
What you always do. Complain.
We've already spoken with Commander Cullen. No one listens. We want better quarters. We want the Templars kept at a distance. And some respect for...
This is not the Circle. You mages are our allies, not our wards. Act like it.
How are we supposed to...
Deal with it.
Нормально так послала.
It never ends, evidently.
Что-то не так?
Is there an issue with the mages? Can I help?
The mages are here as equals. They need to get used to what that means. It is your doing, after all. You created this alliance.
Ты винишь меня?
You would have done differently, I suppose.
Oh. I do sound like I'm blaming you, don't I?
Да.
I don't disapprove. In fact, you did well. You made a decision when it needed to be made. And here we are. I wish I could say this was my doing.
Подлиза! Да, я умная! Ты собрала нас здесь.
We wouldn't be here at all if you hadn't stood up against the Chantry.
You're being kind.
You're discounting your role in this.
Let's close the breach. Then we can say how successful I was.
Так, все, пока с Кассандрой мы больше не будем разговаривать. Пойдем поговорим с остальными, и все. Существует легенда, что ты делаешь персонаж похож на себя, это правда? Не всегда, но иногда. Так. Варик. Что там, кстати говоря? Ой, господи, думала, на Варика там уже наезжают.
The Mage Rebellion joins the Inquisition. I've got to admit that's a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But Red Lyrium and Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad. Finding more of it really punches a hole in my Red Lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
Быстро он растет.
How long does it take for Red Lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This elder one managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
Мы должны уничтожить Лириум.
We can't leave a single piece of that lyrium out in the wild.
I'm with you on that. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
Отпраздновать. Буду думать, что делать дальше. Переведу дух.
I was planning to put my feet up, maybe grab a nap. You?
Whatever I do, it'll be as far from Cassandra as I can get. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know.
Так, все. Почему одни разговоры? Потому что как раз из-за разговоров игра Dragon Age... Потому что вы ничего не понимаете, вы просто не знакомы с этой вселенной, поэтому вы не проникаетесь этими разговорами, как я, понятно? Все, с Солосом говорим и идем экшонить.
So we have gained the mages. Excellent. They should be able to seal the breach. You are certain you experienced time travel. Could it have been an illusion? A trick of the Fade?
Нет.
I know what I saw. It was real.
What an amazing gift. It is vital the Inquisition succeed to avoid the future you witness.
Не прекрасно, а ужасающий. Неважно.
It is never going to happen. We'll stop it.
Remember that. Should you ever feel hesitant about the necessity of the Inquisition's actions. Speaking of which, you should ready yourself.
For?
This Elder One. You have now interfered with his plans twice. Once at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and now again at Redcliffe. A being who aspires to godhood is unlikely to ignore such an affront.
Хотя, может, и не пойдем экшонить. Возможно, сейчас мы сделаем кое-что и заканчиваем. Буду заканчивать стрим, потому что ко мне сейчас придут гости.
Magic exists to serve man.
These truths the Maker has revealed to me. As there is but one God, one life, one death.
Так, ладно, пока что мы закончим на данный стрим. Потому что ко мне сейчас пришли гости. Да в смысле, мы 2 часа стримим. Нормально. Ладно, всем тогда спасибо. Всем пока.